3, 2, 1, 0.
You're listening to the Knives Templars.
I got a piece off of the wagon that Sam Houston used to take JFK to the moon.
Pinto sauce. I like that. Pinto sauce.
Pinto sauce. You're tuned in to the Knives Templars podcast. Featuring Jason Fry.
Yeah, I've been just been doing what we do.
Long time listener, first time caller.
Eric T.R.E. Rivers.
Holy crap, I built something.
Mark Vasallo.
There would be a lot of places I would launch myself to.
Chip Carlisle. We've had a raccoon come through the screen door down in the family room.
I was a mean kid.
And Josh Ferrand. And now, broadcasting across planet Earth, it is the Knives Templars, coming to you live from Porkhouse Studios right here in Hartselle, Alabama, and scattered across the country. We are on demand, and it's time to sit back and enjoy another show of the KnivesTemplars.com. KnivesTemplars.com. Man, oh man, I got old Graham the dog. He didn't even look up when I said, old Graham the dog's laying here on my side. He's eating a bully stick tonight, and he's all passed out, laying there sleeping. And well, I've been in Georgia all week, and you guys, Eric showed up in his tank top. Mark showed up in his shop gear from the with the reflective vest. Jason Fry looks like he was. He's just.
I'm wearing my Texas T-shirt, of course.
What does it say on the shirt that says Texas or anything?
It says Texas on it, and that's it. It's got Texas and a Texas flag. Like, what else do you need, right?
I don't know. And Josh Ferrand, Josh Ferrand's wearing his hat that says,
Josh of all trades.
Josh of all trades blacksmithing. There's the man.
There you go.
He's the one. Hey guys, we are a podcast for knife makers, knife enthusiasts, just knife people, or any creative type. And we're the best podcast, certainly. Some people say on the planet, but by gosh, I think we're the best one in the universe, and then some. So go out and check us out at KnivesTemplars.com. Matter of fact, you see some changes we've had out there this past week. Our good friend Otis here has taken a sabbatical. He'll be back with us in the future. But he has gotten the urge to go out and, he's gotten back into Panther wrestling again. And he just got his mask in on Amazon. He's got a beautiful leather mask that's white with red X on it. And he's a professional Panther wrestler again, but still making beautiful knives. And he'll be checking in from time to time with us, letting us know how the career is going in Panther wrestling, and also just coming on as a show guest from time to time until he decides he's got more time. Hey guys, sometimes life just takes you off. Eric, I guess you might agree with that. Sometimes life takes you in a different direction for a short period of time, and you just got to go with the flow, don't you?
Oh yeah.
So I would say anybody, if you miss Otis here, he's going to be on social media. He's going to be in the Knives Templars, and is still very much a part of our group. He is family. So if you miss him, let him know that, and we'll have him back on here sometime in the future. In the meantime, I'm excited to note that you heard that fella screaming at the during the opening there, and that was actually me recording him when I said, Josh Ferrand, would you like to come on as a co-host rather than one of the Knives Templars dancers? And he screamed, and I was so glad I was recording it, and now it's part of the show opener. So Josh, welcome as a co-host. You certainly earned the spot, not only with that scream, but also your dancing, as well as the multitude of knife making skills that you have as well. So congrats and welcome to the show.
I appreciate it.
As a co-host, I should say. And Mark, I said you've got your work shirt on tonight. It says Mark on one side. On the other side, it says, what does it say on the other? Equipment Services. And it's a fine looking reflective shirt. Being the safety guy I am, I'm a professional safety guy. I'm very tickled to see you wearing that shirt tonight. So you must have been out in the field today.
On Fridays I try to take the tie off and wear one of the uniforms that some of my guys wear, and try to get the opportunity to go out and do a little work with them. So
that's good.
If that happens and I'm not in the meetings, it's a great Friday.
That is wonderful, because I am known to also go jump in trucks and ride to farms. And, this week I was in all parts of a poultry plant, which I've worked in one for almost 20 years. But it's good because you know what? Our titles are different, but nobody's above anybody else in the world. We're all sitting on a level field, and we got to respect each other for what we all bring to the table. So good for you. And my gosh, you look marvelous. You look marvelous. I would take you to a traffic jam because nobody would hit us. You're reflective.
There you go.
Good for you. Jason, you getting ready for Blade Show?
I am. Tomorrow is my last full day of actual work. And I have about 6 months worth of projects to do in that one day. So I'll have to be a little more selective, I think. But feeling the anxiety a little bit.
Well, maybe we'll talk about that anxiety a little bit later. It sounds like
I'm sure I'm not the only one.
There's a few on here that may be feeling that. And Eric, how's the new job going?
It's going good. Definitely a change of pace and a workout.
Is it? So are you? It Monday through Friday, or how do you go about that?
It's for the most part Tuesday through Saturday.
Okay.
For the most part. And it changes here and there, but I go in at 5 a.m. and work till about anywhere between 1 and 2 o'clock. Like Wednesday, I worked till 8 p.m.
Wow.
So I did a 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. day.
Yeah.
But a lot of that was because I was having to drive to different locations that were like an hour one direction, then an hour another direction, then an hour back home. So I spent like 3 hours in the car of that 5 to 8. So, but yeah, it's cool. Like I said, it's a lot of exercise. I'm a merchandiser for Pepsi, so it's I basically go put stuff up and walk 8 miles a day.
Well, you've always been very good at taking care of yourself, so this will do that. As well as now, how big is the area that you encompass? You said an hour, so I would assume are you within 60 miles of?
So I'm supposed to be just working evenings. I was technically supposed to be working 4 to midnight so that I could do knife making during the day.
Right.
But I started, and a lot of the other guys that started with me weren't very confident with working the trucks, like being able to. Whenever the drivers drop off all the stuff, you take it and put it out and work the pallets and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I caught on real fast, and it turned into all right, I need you to do that a lot. So I've been doing a lot of that until the guys get comfortable.
Yeah.
Doing that aspect of it. So my area is technically supposed to be just my town, but I've been everywhere over the past couple of weeks.
Is somebody with your skill set and also your work ethic, who's breathing heavy in the microphone? Sit back,
Probably
Jason.
Me.
Yeah, sit back. Sit back. You're getting me excited. You're getting me excited. So, but somebody certainly with your work ethic. What's that?
He's doing that ASMR.
Oh, okay. So somebody with your work ethic and desire for perfection, I'm sure that they've recognized that early, and anybody would take advantage of that. You got a good member on your team, for sure. So
I'll most likely be working days rather than nights, which actually works out for the podcast too, because I would have been working 4 to midnight on Fridays. But I basically, I'm working as much as I am right now because we're in peak. You're in that like Memorial Day through 4th of July, summer, everybody's getting drinks and Gatorades, and Pepsi has Gatorade too, and Dr. Pepper where I'm at. So it's super crazy right now. But whenever we get past this, I basically will go in at 5, get off at noon or 1,
Right.
and have the rest of my day. It's weird though. Whenever you work that early, it hits like 10 a.m. and it feels like it's 7 p.m. Like people are telling me good morning, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I've been working for like 5
You're
hours.
like been here for a month. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like the army. You do more before everybody gets out of bed. So, do you get free Pepsis?
Don't get free, but on Wednesdays or Thursdays, we get to go up to the warehouse and buy it at cost. So you can get like a bunch,
Yeah.
and you just get it at cost, which is a great.
But what about when you're driving down the road? Don't they want the guy, like drinking the Pepsi product and for the customers to see?
Shoot, no. Businesses are still about making money.
Well, good for
nobody likes to give anything away for free.
Well, good for you. I'm glad that you found this, and certainly I would agree that probably smithing at night is probably not a bad thing because might be a little bit cooler. Might be a little cooler. Matter of fact, I think our buddy Mark had said that he saw you putting out a Knife Talk Tuesday during the day or at the end of the day. It was still bright outside.
Yeah, I saw light when you were doing it. Normally, it's like I see all this stuff in the dark and your shop light's on. So I saw outside ambient light in your shop, which was kind of neat.
And a lot of that's because normally I film them towards the evening, but that day I filmed it I filmed it on Tuesday, edited it, and released it in like 3 hours.
Wow.
And it was a lot of hustle, but yeah, it was during the day. I'm still getting used to the whole schedule thing. I spent like 6.5 months not having to work for anybody, so getting back into the whole working a schedule and having a manager tell you got to be here at this point, and not choosing when you're going to stop working or when you're going to go in and all that has been a interesting roller coaster for the last couple of weeks. But
So, are you still drinking flavored waters, or are you drinking the Pepsi at cost now? You're still drinking the flavored water. Now, I would assume that Nestle's got a water brand. I would assume probably Pepsi's got a water too.
Yeah. We have Aquafina.
There you go.
We have a water brand, but yeah, I'm not going back into the whole soda thing. I've actually lost more weight. I'm finally below 200 pounds.
There you go.
Yeah.
So and I'm not gonna slip back into that thing. The hard part was, again, going back into the workforce and not eating fast food and not drinking sodas when you have
that's the hard piece. I mean, when you're at work and other folks are doing it and you're on the run and you're trying to grab a bite to eat at lunch and all these things. So I've had to make a point of actually bringing a sandwich every day and sticking to what I'm going to eat.
Yeah, because there's no $5 lunch anymore anywhere either. Plus, what you can find isn't healthy.
No, I tell you what, traveling this past week, I was like, well, I'm not going to eat bad this week. And guys, I'm 239 pounds. I've chunky buff. But hey, we'll just get past that. I know what I have to do to fix it. But bottom line is, I had to travel this week, and I'm on Chick-fil-A like a crackhead is on crack. I love Chick-fil-A, and it was like $15 every time I ate, and I'm like, that's why I don't eat it on my own ticket. I'll eat it when I get reimbursed.
Yeah, that's right.
So
let me cheaper to go to a restaurant.
Oh yeah. And Josh, before we get to you here real quick, Blade Show's coming up on the 7th. I'll be over in Atlanta, and Eric and Jason and I have got a place together for there. Eric, you're still planning coming over. I've got the confirmation number. What day are you coming over? You're going to be there on.
Well, I'm going to be there all day Thursday. I'm going to Neil Warren's Airbnb with we're having a little get together.
Oh, good.
On Thursday, and then so I'm going to get in about noon-ish on Thursday. I'm leaving Wednesday night.
Yeah.
And then of course I'll be there Friday, Saturday, and head back Sunday.
Good. Well, I was going to let you know there's a nice bridge I'm through Atlanta a lot, and I know there's a nice bridge out on 75 that's probably already got some tents there that you could sleep in if you were interested. But it's good. You've already got it taken care of. So I'm going to drive in on Friday morning. Go ahead.
About to say, yeah, I'll be staying with y'all.
Good deal. And I'll be driving in Friday morning, and check-in's probably about 3, but I'll take care of that, and we'll make sure everybody gets a card key. And Jason, you've got plans for Thursday night, and then you'll be over Friday as well. Guys, there's only 2 beds. What are we going to do?
Rock, paper, scissors to see who gets the floor.
Or maybe we all just sleep together. We all just sleep together in one bed. We spoon.
That's all it is.
Yeah, I've seen the 3.
Maybe we have a live measuring contest.
It's called.
Yeah. Here's what I would say. I would suffer greatly because y'all have seen chip knives. They're small. But here's what I will tell you. Actually, I'm going out to buy a cot this week. And I've always slept in hammocks, this, that, and the other, and I'm getting kind of the point where I think I kind of like a cot. So, I'm going to stop and get a cot. You guys are going to get the beds, and it's not a big deal. I sleep in Hamptons all the time. And I always sleep on a cot like the one I'm going to bring whenever I go to deer camp, this, that, and the other, and I sleep like a baby. So we'll be squared away. I might have to stick a cot between the 2 beds or somewhere. So just don't fart on me at night or step out on me, and we'll be okay. So we'll be okay.
We got you.
We'll be squared. We'll be squared away. And Jason, what have you got going on Thursday night? Where are you going to be staying at? Not have to particularly.
It's gotten complicated. So I did have a place, and now I don't have a place, and I'm still working on it. But I will take you up on that offer of the van down by the river. I think was that what we were talking about.
So here's what here's what I was thinking. I might see if I can't get a Thursday night thing and just drive over after work on Thursday.
Yeah.
So
fun.
Let's talk after the show, and let me see if I can't square away. Yeah. And we may have to change rooms or something.
I wouldn't be against that.
You wouldn't be against what?
A Thursday.
Oh, okay. So, is that because Neil Warren might, hey, you got?
Oh no, I'm not staying there. I'm just going to a get together.
Oh. Well, let me. Well, I've racked up quite a few points, so while we're on the show tonight, I may be able to see if there another one. May have to change rooms after that one night, but we'll see. Let's just play it by beer, and we'll see what happens. Did you catch that? Play it by beer. Play it by beer.
Yeah. Sounds like a plan.
There you go.
Yeah, I like
there you go. Hey, and with that being said, play it by beer just makes me think of housemade.us. I don't know why, but it does. I drink a beer at the house. There you go. There's the connection. Do you know that Brian Houseword at housemade.us? You can call him Brian House too, but his company offers 2x72 belt grinders, forges, build plans, quench plates, and so much more. Go to Housemade Industrial and check out the great Apollo Forge and the Revolution 2x72 grinder today. And he's going to be at the Blade Show this coming week, so I am so looking forward to seeing him. And while we're at it, let's just go ahead and knock another one out here, because somebody else that's going to be at Blade Show that I'm so excited to see. And that's going to be Billy with Redeem Steel at redeemsteel.com. You know, they're made up of craftspeople of all sorts: blacksmiths, bladesmiths, metalworkers, woodworkers. That was metalworkers, by the way. Woodworkers, leatherworkers, etc. And they use their talents to build homes for the homeless, give water to the thirsty, feed the hungry. They do it in our country, out of our country, and they share the good news of Jesus Christ. And we can't get enough of that these days. And with so much more all over the world, Redeem Steel uses their works of their hands and the words of their lips to make a lasting impact on those who should serve. And that's everybody, no matter who you are. Josh, I don't want to leave you out. What's going on with Josh? You're rushing to the finish line too, aren't you?
Well, yeah, I've got a lot of knives in progress, but none of them are done. So we'll see how many I can finish between now and Wednesday.
That sounds about right. Yep.
Yeah.
You guys don't know what you're
they're all heat treated, so that's good.
You don't know what your opportunities are here. Build kits. Slap some scales in them, slap the knives in them, and have build kits. Now, I would suggest you sell them for $100 less than what you would have charged, but boom, build kits. Build your own.
Hey, and
I think I'd have to sell them for a lot less than 100.
No, People might actually buy them. I had a whole bunch on at my Texas Select show.
Yeah.
I had some ones that I forged on the Saturday live streams,
Right.
and they were just the forged blades. Everybody kept asking me, "You selling those? Are you selling these? Would you sell one of these?" I was like, "No, I'm not going to sell you one of my unfinished knives. Go away."
Well, you know,
Yeah.
that's actually
you probably
that's
could.
probably not. Think about it though. If you don't put your maker's mark on it and you make a forged blade, it's gonna grab more money than a just a blank cut out of flat steel. I mean, it has to.
Oh, yeah.
But would I do that? I don't know if I would either. But it's certainly, I could see a market for people wanting to buy that, to say, "Hey, listen, I finished this blade that was forged. I did the grinding on it and put the handle on it." It gives them,
especially the integrals.
Yes.
Because you're not getting integral blanks from anybody.
I think we just created a new
but
market.
Still, I would.
There you go.
I'm not a big fan of selling people my unfinished knives.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Unless I do all the final work, I don't want my name associated with it at all.
Yeah.
Unless I can control the outcome, it doesn't say Fry on it at all.
Oh, exactly. It doesn't have to say Fry on it. It wouldn't say Fry. It just, here's a hammered blank.
So
matter of fact, everything I ever screwed up, I'm going to start selling because I've got a drawer full of screw ups. I'm going to start selling them as unfinished blanks. Go do it.
Sounds like a plan.
There you go.
What were you going to say, Jason?
Oh, I was going to say that I have a forged Hunter blank from a famous mastersmith. He forged it at a Hammer in at least 2012, probably in Canada of all places. But it's sitting there in my drawer. It's been there forever, just as an example of where the one mastersmith said he stops on the forging process, and I can't can't manage to make myself finish it, even though I've had it forever and it's marked as 1080 and I know what to do with it. I don't know.
Right. And I can understand that. There's a lot of integrity that comes with making knives, but there's also a lot of people that don't have the skill set that would want to get their hands around it. And that's why people buy, ground Chinese made knives on Amazon with a set of handle scales with them just to do the final assembly. And hey, whatever they consider themselves, a knife assembler or finisher, because if they finish the handle and everything, there's certain skills in that. It just is what it is. Everybody finds where they're comfortable. But anyway, I don't guess we're going to start selling forged. Josh, we didn't sell you on this, did we?
No, I'm not a big fan of put my name or even be like affiliated with something that I didn't finish. I've had a lot of people ask me if I could sell blanks, and I'm just like, I'm not really interested.
Yeah, same. I've had people ask me before. Just not going to do it.
Well, I'm telling you, the squatch doesn't go on it. The squatch doesn't go on anybody's name if I didn't make it. So there you go.
Right.
You got to respect the squatch.
How many do you have left to do, Josh?
I've got like 5 or 6 regular knives, and then if I'm feeling adventurous, I'm going to finish the dagger. We'll see how that goes. Nice. I might just have like 3 knives and a whole bunch of sanding sticks.
So that's what you have finished is 3, or are you still at 0 and you gotta get them done?
No, I'm at 0, and I'm hoping for the best.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's with the new job. I've had very little like shop time because I'm gone like most of the week. And when I'm home, having a farm, I usually end up having to like catch up with.
Have you thought about
not been taken care of? And
just bring your grinder and offer sharpening services in, or stop by Sunoco out there on 20 before you get to Atlanta and just buy a whole case full of blades.
There you go.
No, never.
Just remember that. Remember, if you wait till the last minute, it only takes you a minute.
There you go. Some wisdom right there.
And like Jason said, wait till
advice that nobody good would ever tell you.
But that is profound, and that's almost as profound as saying, guys, if you're not going to TR Maker, and you can find him at tr-maker.com. UCell has been in business since 1980. TR Maker has offered high quality and fast service from Istanbul, Turkey to every country in the world. Check out their line of knife making tools tools. This is going to make your job easier, more precise. You can't do without their products. And I can tell you from experience, once you discover them. Matter of fact, they were at a hunting show over in Turkey this week, and I've seen the videos and stuff from that, and it was exciting as a blade show. I mean, I couldn't believe all of these guys that have a Turkish complexion, more of an olive skin, darker hair. Not a lot of varieties in certain countries where there's a lot of similar culture, and it was like, look, those guys look like us at shows, but they all look kind of Turkish, and I was just like, it was kind of a cool that you could see the differences. Kind of like I would say it would probably be easier if you said it was like a Chinese convention and everybody was Chinese there, but they're doing the same things that we do. So it tells you it's just one big world, and we're all in the same fish tank. And we all love the same things. So I loved it. And that you bought 2 Knives Templars, .com t-shirts, Blade Show t-shirts.
Oh, fun.
Yes. So we're going to be represented in Turkey. He ordered a couple of those. And also I believe Sean Ryan with Phoenix Abrasives has ordered one, is in the process of ordering one as well. So,
I forgot to order
it's
mine
okay.
today.
It's okay. But I will tell you this. Mark wore that shirt last year, and the number of people that went goo goo gaga over my pronouns are it will cut. I was like, well, we're just going to do it again. We'll see if it's still live. But since I posted online when the shirts came in today, my shirts and when Jason ordered the stickers, I got him a shirt. And the number of people that already goo-gooed over that, and I'm like, man, I really do need to walk around brown bagging these things at the show, but Jason had turned me in, so I'm not going to do that.
I would. We got to follow those rules.
We do. And I'm joking, of course, but I know Jason's got a lot of integrity.
Most days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like every other table though kept saying, "Oh, I like that shirt."
Where do you get one? Where do you get one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm waiting for my.
They wanted to buy it off my back.
I'm waiting for my.
So Jason,
sir.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, how many knives do you have?
I have 12 or maybe 13. I've written them all down, but I haven't counted. And then I've got one more that I might finish tomorrow. I've got the special cutter from the previous episode that I will probably finish. I heat treated that blade tonight, so I will finish that up. Nice. And then I don't know. I've got another slip joint sitting there all put together that I haven't milled the frames yet or done any of that work. So I could conceivably finish that one. I don't know. We'll just have to see. Get out there and get after it.
How many do you have finished to take? Because you made a lot of folders.
12. I think 12 or 13.
Not too bad.
It's a pretty good assortment. I've got some really big and complicated pieces, and then some pretty simple stuff too. So,
you're probably going to have 13 or 14 when you step away from your table to get a hot dog. I'll be sitting there trying to selling the Cobra Kai. So,
sounds good.
Yeah.
See, I went through and I prepped for my next show, so I've got 23 done right now, and which was good doing all of that before starting the new job. I knocked out as much as I could before that while I had the time, and so for one, I had inventory for the website because I still have to run that part of the business even while I'm doing this, and then trying to prep so I'm not panicking for the next show, because it gets stressful.
Yes, it does.
You're sitting there and you're going, I gotta have stuff created,
and
I got 3 weeks to make a whole show.
I saw a post on Blade Forum or on Facebook a couple of days ago that somebody said Blade Show's a week away. And I kind of just said, gee, thanks for provoking the anxiety attack, right? I mean, we look cool and collected when we're there, but man, there's some stress associated. So as a psychologist, kind of, that's not my license. My license is a behavior analyst, but it's a psychology field. So I thought it might be kind of interesting to do a relaxation exercise for the knife makers who are listening to our podcast and who are already anxious, having already heard us talk about how we don't have knives and how we're going to Blade Show with nothing, right? So are y'all up for something like that?
as we move right through. That was a little Texas blues music for you there, brother.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Hey, it looks like
All
Josh.
right.
Well, before we get started, it looks like Josh crashed off the information superhighway.
Oh,
have y'all heard that term? Have y'all heard that term before? The information superhighway. When
I think they called that right after Al Gore invented the internet, right? When that was called
back in 1997 when I got my first work computer. It had Windows 95 on it. They gave me a disk and I could put this CD-ROM into the computer and this lady would come up and she'd start talking and I could click on her and she would do things, and it was called the Internet Superhighway, the Information Superhighway. But I had no speakers on my computer at that time, so I couldn't read her lips. But I was so amazed that I can click this button and she opens this up and starts talking about that. So we always call it about crashing on the internet or information superhighway.
The information superhighway. I like
hopefully old Josh will be back with us. And hey, I want to hit two topics tonight if we can, because number one, with regard to Blade Show, at least we may have others, but number one, the anxiety for makers being 5 days away, but also, Mark had a great one to talk about plans for Blade Show and how to make sure that you see all that you want to see. And one of the people that I want to see on there, one of the companies I want to see is Pop's Knife Supplies. Not hard to find their big kiosk, popsknifesupplies.com. Pop's Knife Supply was started 40 years ago by James Poplin and has served the knife making community and industry with leading prices, and they only charge the actual shipping cost. You don't get charged any extra. They're run today by Alan Searles, Joey Berry, and Dirk Lutz, all great and full-time knife makers, and they focus on customer service, great products, and prices. Check them out at popsknifesupplies.com today. Walk us through our anxiety. Getting ready for Blade Show there, buddy. Looks like Josh landed. Looks like Josh landed his rocket ship again.
Hey, welcome back, Josh.
Mark, that was funny, Mark.
I made it.
I think you should bring that up, Eric. Say it. We think that Josh ran away actually to try to finish a knife like during the podcast. Seems reasonable.
After all that talk.
All right. Hey, Josh.
Just real fast.
Josh, you've got 2 uploads at the end of this. Okay.
Gotcha.
And
gotta wait till they're all done.
Yeah. Let's see how he's connected now. He's at 1%. He's got the Otis ear disease tonight. You may be up till midnight.
Oh.
You may up past midnight uploading this, but just keep doing your best, and we will get through it. But your first one certainly needs to upload as well as your second. So I've got anxiety now. Help me.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
Help me, Jason.
Okay, let me get out the relaxing voice. I need you to help. Let's work along with this together and see if we can deal with our anxiety for Blade Show. All right, so take a deep breath in through your nose. Breathe out through your mouth slowly. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Now repeat to yourself, it will be okay. In through your nose. There you go, out through your mouth. The next one says, I will be kind to Alicia and the Blade Show workers, even though I'm stressed to the max. Breathe in and breathe out. I can survive whether I sell a knife or whether I don't sell a knife. Breathe in and breathe out. At the end of the day, I can still make knives in my van down by the river. Breathe in, breathe out. There you go. See, if that didn't fix your anxiety, then I don't know what will. So there you go.
Yeah, that's a problem.
It didn't do squat for me, brother.
Oh man, we'll have to try it again at the show itself.
No. You just see, here. Maybe there's just different ways, because mine is like, Lord, I know I have no control over this. Things will get better, and the Bible says, "Give all my worries to you, and you will take them from me." Don't worry about today, because tomorrow has its own problems. So I just have a tendency to say, God, will you take this and help me to be kind and good to those that surround me, because they're in the same situation.
I suspect that will do more good for the universe than what I just gave you. So yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
So what crazy bills do you have going with you, Jason?
Okay, so I have three pretty monster ones. I have the Arrowhead dagger, so it's a multi-bar Damascus dagger that's got Arrowhead theme. It's got napped flint scales and a fairly complex frame handle. I've got the border buoy, which is one that has steel from the border wall. Naturally, the border wall separates two different patterns of Damascus on the blade with the wall in between, and it's got some artifact stuff from the 1880s from an army camp down there. And then I have a Battleship Texas knife that's got ship steel elements and ship deck wood, and then a few others. But between the three of those, I could buy a used car, honestly. So some of you guys need to come by Table 5K and help me out.
I'm looking forward to seeing the Arrowhead one.
Jim Cooper just posted it around social media today. So hopefully.
So I wish that everybody could. Do you have it like in its broke down form before you forged it? Is that on like your Instagram or something like that?
Yeah, I've got pieces of it. I did some YouTube videos. Fry Custom Knives is my channel on every kind of media. I did a YouTube video showing all the different pieces that went into at least the handle. Projects like this, I mean, that one took me 6 months at least. And so I kind of forget what I've put out there, but
I wish people could see. So, a lot of us get to see people do different types of Damascus and pattern welded steel, however you want to call it. But anytime you have mosaic Damascus, it's already a pain in the butt if you're just trying to tile things together and do certain things. But whenever you see what he actually did to this, and then how it had to be forged together, was ridiculous, because it's a center core, which was the arrow, and then it's got the edge steel. This is not something that the edge steel was folded into it like a bit or something like that. It had to be forge welded to the face and then into dagger form. And that's not easy.
Nope.
That is complicated.
It's pretty crazy hard. Again, techniques that I learned from other people. Again, I didn't invent this. I have tried to push it to the limits of my capabilities, though. So yeah, that blade is actually 5 different bars of Damascus, kind of edge welded together to make a blade. So instead of like typical Damascus where you stack it and weld it, these are laid side by side, and the edges welded together to make the blade. I run it all at about a half an inch or a fat half, 5/8, something like that, to stick those and then grind it from there. So I think I've got 8 work days in the hardened blade before I ground any of it. So it's a labor of love and an epic project and high risk of failure, and it's a lot of things all at once.
Oh yeah, it really is. I mean, just doing Damascus in the first place and making sure all your forge welds stick are one thing, but whenever you start getting into, tiling things together or doing mosaic or all that stuff, you spend all the work just making the Damascus that some people will just turn into a knife, and then you add the added stress.
Then you flip it around and weld it sideways. Yeah.
Because and it's not just like a normal mosaic or one where you would
just weld tiles. No,
let's just say 4 squares and weld it as a square into a rectangle. No, because you had to forge the tip.
No, actually, I I wouldn't say I cheated. I shaped all of that in advance and ground it.
I know.
It. So yeah, I did forge. I forged a curve in the bar, and then I fit those tight around the core, so that you're looking at tiny little gaps. So it's not like, again, why I'm reacting this way. It's not like I took a square bar and then forged a tip in it like I would if it was monosteel. I forged the bars around the core. Yeah, it would be easy. I forged the bars around the core and then ground them all to fit. I always pick the complicated version.
Yeah, and it's just, that's more complicated because, again, whenever you're just trying to take 4 rectangles and put them together,
plenty hard.
That's
plenty hard.
But then you take it and you put it on a curve.
Yeah.
And have to forge weld that together.
I've had a little more success with the multi-bar crazy stuff than I have just regular tiles, honestly. But I was at a Hammer Inn. Again, everything I know I learned from somebody else. I learned some of those basic techniques from Owen Wood, who does really complex but tiny multi-piece blades. So he'll take a bunch of little 3/32 rods and weld them in with a bunch of different kinds of shim stock and make this crazy pattern. And then I learned a little bit more from John Horrigan, who has a jig that helps you butt weld tiles. So yeah, it's cool. It's in some ways amazing. In some ways it's crap I do in my backyard. They're both true at the same time. But everything I know, I learned from somebody else. Just willing to get out there and try it. Fail once in a while.
Who was the guy?
Usually how that goes.
Who was the guy that won the best buoy at the Texas Select Show? What was his name?
Is that the Elon Green one?
He's yeah. So that was one of those things where it was like a Turkish twist pattern, but they were all only like a 1/4 of an inch tall.
Oh wow!
All the way up the blade. And then, so it was just like, how many bars go into making that puppy? You know what I mean? And stacking that up. And it's just, it looks like it was machine done because the twist was just like perfect all the way down. And you got to do that like 8 times or
5 bars or 10 bars or something. Yeah.
Yeah. And they all have to be so perfect so that when you're looking at it, it's just like, I mean, that is some work.
So I was cheating on you guys and listening to another podcast this week on the road because I've already heard us talk, right? And so they had John Horrigan on, and he is a specialist in Turkish twist. Okay, that is his number one best pattern. There are very few in the world as good as him at that pattern. And he was saying that, kind of like you were pointing out, Eric, that those multi-bar twist patterns, it's super critical for the twists to be identical from bar to bar, which is hard because in a true Turkish twist, you're alternating twist directions. So some go right and the next bar goes left. But you've got to have the exact same number of twists, the exact same length of bar to make that number of twists space out evenly, the exact same heat on the bar to make it twist the same density. I mean, it's a whole lot. There's a ton to it. And then for a twist bar to come out nice, you need to grind off 2/3 of it. So for these guys like John or Mike Quisenberry or some of those that can do, or Elon that can do really fine Turkish twist stuff, more props to them. More props to them. It's very impressive work.
We've got a breaking news. It appears that if we want to stay one extra night at the Hampton right there at the Cobb Center, it's like $340 a night or 70,000 points, which I'm paying with points. So do y'all remember where Six Flags is before you get to Atlanta on the right there on 20 roller coasters? 10 minutes before we get 10 minutes before you get to 285. In Lithia Springs, we can get a room there at True by Hilton for 31,000 points. I know it doesn't cost you guys anything, but it's same setup, but it's a True
sounds
hotel.
A lot better. Sounds a lot better.
And just do that for Thursday night?
Do that for Thursday night. We'll check out Thursday night. or Friday morning,
and then move into the,
and then just put our stuff in our car, park over at the Hampton in the other place, go to Blade Show, come back at 3:00, check into that room.
Yep, sounds good, buddy.
Yep.
Sounds good. Thank you for taking care of that.
Hey, you know what?
Yeah, that's awesome, Chip.
You guys are buying me a hot dog inside the exhibition center.
Oh, snap. I hope I sell a knife so I can afford to buy one.
Right? $326.
Yeah, for a hot dog. For a hot dog. And you can't sit down. You got to stand and eat it. Hurry up. There's other people. So,
but if you drip mustard on some fancy knife, though, like that's as cool as spitting, nearly.
It really is. I'll eat a mustardy. I'll eat a mustardy hot dog before I go see Kyle Royer this year. Good deal. Hey, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And you know what? That gets me so excited that I want to tell you guys about Phoenix Abrasives. They're going to be at the show. You can find them at phoenixabrasives.com, and they offer great prices, selection, quality, and quick delivery. I only use their belts. They have a complete inventory of belts, discs, rolls, wheels, and anything else you need to get the job done right. If you enter Templars 10 at checkout, you're going to get 10% off their orders. Some others may be offering 15% off their orders, but hey, check the prices because we can always charge more to get a bigger discount. Check out Phoenix Abrasives. Not only the quality of the belts, but the pricing is going to be the best. Check them out today. We dealt with anxiety. We've got a room for Thursday night now. We're all taken care of. Mark, what about planning to see everything you want to see? What are you thinking?
Well, I think I gave a little bit of a recap last year after I got back, but I think, what I will say, for first timers, right? I'll give a quick overview of my first experience, which was, I walked into what I didn't know was the small room. And said, hey, I have a great plan. I'm going to go up and down and look all these aisles, and then I'm going to go back to the stuff I want. And so I had this great plan until, I think I met up with Chip, you and Eric, and then you guys said you have not been in the big room yet. And, I had spent like half a day already, going through the small room. Right. And so, I think what I found is it was, pretty important to, so I've already started writing down things that I want to see or do, there. Right. And so besides for, knife makers and folks that I want to see their knives, what other things do I want to, go through and see? And then, kind of start scouting out and circling, tables and locations, where they are. So at very minimum, I can go through and take a first scout out and see the things I really want to see. And then really it gives you a lot more relaxing time that I can go back and look at those again, or I can just walk through, but I've accomplished, what I want to accomplish, down for the Blade Show. Plus you can kind of do it efficiently because you're not like going from, to go from one side to the other side of just that auditorium. I mean, that's going to take you a while. So, I think really, going through finding the vendors and the blade makers that you want to specifically go see, circle them on the map, and then, be able to go through there a little bit methodically. I think it's definitely going to help. The other tip I would have is that if you plan to buy things, like some folks, so like last year at Ameribraid, I bought the sharpening attachment. And so, it's probably not the greatest idea to buy it as the first thing you go to and carry it around for the entire day. So they were great. I bought it and they let me just, keep it, I bought it and they kept it there for me. I don't know if they do that for everybody, but, so either, ask them if you can keep it there or, or reserve it or something like that, or just go back at the end of, one of the first days when they have a lot of stock still and buy your thing just before you leave. So you can grab that and then, bring it right out to your car, or your hotel room. And then you don't have to be carrying 30 bars of steel around with you in your,
that's great advice, Mark. Great advice.
I've got, the boys over at Ameribraid, Eric is keeping a 2-inch deflector wheel for me. So when I get there, he's just going to let me pick it up there from him rather than order it. And I've been, you know, they've been coming out with all these great new accessories. And he says they've got some deflectors rolling around for building their small wheel attachments and such. I'm like, man, I really would like one. I just want to, you guys, this is me being OCD. I love having change parts. I've got 3 or 2 extra backups for some of my products, or some of my materials, but, you know, I got to have another deflector wheel or else my OCD won't go away. So he's going to have one there for me to put in my box. But I'm the kind of guy that if things start getting wobbly and falling apart, I want to have something to replace it. And so I buy a little bit here or there over time. And, you know, everything short of a chassis and a motor, I can just about rebuild a grinder.
So you don't just like wrap it in duct tape and wire it up with a zip tie?
Well, until it totally falls apart. But when it totally falls apart, I got to be able to rebuild.
Okay. All right. I got you.
You know, that's a good thing to bring up. My grinder, after 2 years, looks as good as it did practically the day that I bought it. And that's because when I get done using it, I keep a set of camel hair paintbrushes, a couple of them hanging there that I use while I'm working. But I brush it all off, take it to the ground, all the dust and everything, vacuum it up. Or most of the time now, I got this new blower. And this was brought to you by Eric's ringtone. It's called Gay, like funny, haha.
My wife's ringtone.
But anyway, you know, just taking a little extra time to clean down your plat and take the belt off, just get out the leaf blower and blow out the shop. Man, I tell you what, your equipment looks so much better years later. So I'm a real PM replacement parts kind of person, and I sold a 10-year-old bass boat, and I had people fighting for it because it still looked brand new because I did the same. I wash it every time I put it away. So that's the way I am.
See, I clean and do that stuff, but you know, my grinder does not look like it's brand new. Of course, you know, it's like all bare steel.
But you've made 400 knives on it.
I've made a lot. It's been wet several times from, you know, grinding blades.
You getting excited?
You know, I do I do as much as I can to keep it, you know, lubricant on it and all that stuff, keep it coated and cleaned up and all that. But yeah, my now the thing is, you can walk across my shop floor barefoot most of the time.
Same here.
It stays pretty clean.
Yeah,
mainly because I have.
Are you using
kids.
that?
Mm-hmm. I would say,
yeah. You using the water-based gun lube?
Yes, definitely.
I only use water-based gun lube in my shop. Good. You know, if you find something that works, just go with it. You
know what I keep going with is the clean about every 6 months method. That's my style more. I know you guys are better human beings than me. For those listeners, do it Eric's way. Do it Chip's way.
Well,
yeah, Jason, I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, if you want to film it, do it my way. If you're not going to film yourself, do it Jason.
No, I'm all about.
I mean, you can still
everything's
honk in the background of my YouTube videos. I promise you that.
If you look in my toolbox, World War III is taking place in there right now. You know. And everybody's losing. But on the surface in my shop, there's a place for everything, and everything's clean and polished and so on. Hey, but you know, Eric, Mark, you had a good point we were talking about before I deflected us off into another dimension. One thing I did is you can get the exhibitors list, as we've talked about in the past, if not here recently, but and I go through there and I highlight who I want to see. And then I take my map of the exhibit, staple to it, and I start checking things off as I go by with my pencil. And there it is. You know, I've seen them. Even the people I just want to make fun of, yeah. I do that. I put them on there, but I put MF beside them. That stands for make fun.
I'm sure that's what it means. Yeah.
And if I could give people advice, if you're not planning on going in there and buying the doorbuster stuff, just go eat breakfast somewhere.
Yeah.
And hang out in Atlanta, look at Atlanta, see what Atlanta's all about that Friday.
Be sure and carry your gun. They're a constitutional carry state when you're down in town in Atlanta.
And right?
It's a dangerous city.
And show up to the show at noon. Like, if you want to wait in that line forever for no reason whatsoever,
more power to you. But
remember that. Yeah, you are waiting with the people who are going to the booths to buy the stuff before people can actually buy it. You are going to be with people who are running in and going crazy and nuts that are knife collectors and things like that. And if you don't want to wait in the line for that long, then don't wait in the line for that long.
Hey, Mark,
You just let it start.
Can I tell him your idea, Mark? It was the best one yet. Mark, the shirt he's got on tonight is his blue industrial shirt with the reflective vest and his name on it and everything. He's actually going to stop at Walmart and get a Rubbermaid 50-gallon trash can on wheels, and he's going to push it in there as if he works there and just walk right in. I thought that's great. I mean, just walk by everybody.
What I heard is construction outfit with a ladder. Like you can get in anywhere as long as you're carrying a ladder and you're in a construction outfit. No one even second guesses it. They're like, I don't want to be doing what that guy's doing, but evidently he's got to use a ladder to do it. And they just let you walk in.
For sure.
Brilliant.
Oh man, my dog finally woke up and he's staring at me, and I don't know if that's I need to go pee or hey, how are you? So I'm just keeping an eye on him here. So if y'all see me leave the podcast, I'm running out with a pissing dog out the door.
Good to know. Good to know.
I would say, having a plan, like you said, going into it is absolutely awesome, and having a map or have an idea of what flow you want to do. Definitely understand that there's more than one room, and you can see a lot of different things. If you're going in for just a one-day thing, try and hit all the places and spaces. If you're going to be there 2 days, heck, sometimes you can just focus on one area for one day and the other area the other day. If you're going there to talk to someone who's famous in the knife making community, just understand that they're going to have another 50 people there trying to talk to them as well. And a lot of these guys are still also there trying to sell stuff too. So if you're going to go and you want to have a chat with them, when you see somebody who's walking up that might be a potential customer, just kind of step to the left a little bit, let them try and sell something. And if that person walks off, then you can come back into the conversation. But a lot of these guys that are going to be at these shows, they need to sell these things to pay their bills and do their
stuff. They're 8-foot tables, so don't post up in the center of Michael Walker's table unless you're ready to play at that level. Right? There's some courtesy to that.
You know what's fun? Eric. What's fun? I did this last year. I had a really good time doing it. So we'll see if anybody listens to the podcast, and maybe 5% do it. Guys, go to Hobby Lobby, get you an 8.5 by 11 piece of tooling leather, put it in a folder with your list of who you want to go see. Bring you a Sharpie and have your favorite maker sign that piece of leather. And when you get home, frame it, stick it up in your shop. It's a really cool idea. Steve, I've got Trolsky, Swartzer. It's a who's who. I've even got Josh Ferrans and Eric's and Jason's and Mark's. I mean, I've got you guys too, but your names are on there along with who's that other Jason Knight? I've got Kyle Royer and Dennis Tyrell and a butt ton of other people that I just enjoy. I'm sitting in my shop. Sometimes I look up at that and just go, hey, there's where somebody signed that one time. So anyway, just an idea. Don't have them. Don't pull down your shirt. And have them sign your belly, guys. That's not cool.
So just have them sign the right butt cheek.
Matter of fact, I may go to Tyrell and say, pull up my shirt to the side and say, will you sign my right flank over here where it kind of curves back around?
Yeah, I'm gonna get it tattooed.
Yeah. There you go. Now I could see that. Now go around and get everybody's signatures all over your body and then get them tattooed on. So yeah,
that's one way to do it.
There are also sometimes some of these vendors will be having I don't want to take this home with me sales. Sometimes you'll get a pretty good deal on what they brought with them, and sometimes you'll just buy it, let it stay there for the show, then pick it up on the last day. There's a lot of people that do that. Jason Valet, one of my friends, he did that with the heat treat oven, one of the big deep ones, and a vertical heat treat oven, and he got a good deal on it. I think it had like a broken foot or something like that from them transporting it there, and he got it for a good price. So you'll have things like that, and it's just these shows.
Who in the world is sneezing?
Oh, that would be my
would you
wife.
Would you ever step over here to the screen, please?
They want to say hi to you. She's
saying no. She's saying no.
No, she's
working her way into the screen.
It's Texas, and it's been raining, and and
hello, Nisha. Hello, Nisha. I don't think.
Hi.
You have sneezed for at least 3 listeners out in the world. Maybe anywhere between.
Did he? Is this spaghetti margarita?
Yeah, this is spaghetti. You say it like a Texan, and you've got to say it like we do in Alabama. Spaghetti margarita di coco. So,
yeah.
So, we heard you sneezing. We felt that you probably did want to get on the podcast tonight. So, what is it? What is it that Eric would take you to Blade Show in Texas, but he won't take you to Blade Show in Atlanta? What did you do?
I didn't go to Blade Show Texas. I went to Texas.
Why does he let you go to Texas Select? Why will he not take you to Atlanta? Did you talk about things he needed to do around the house on the drive all the way down there, or?
Oh goodness!
No,
I let him sleep. So.
Well, I will keep a good eye on him. You've got the best husband in the world, but I will make sure that he gets to bed early, he eats well, and that people don't try to mob him for his celebrity that he's gained over the last year. So he'll get back home safely.
I'll tell you.
I can.
It's kind of trippy.
Yeah, I can get him back as far as Hartselle, Alabama. Between that and Texas, we'll just pray. But I'll get him back.
That
we can throw him in my trunk. I'll be coming through pretty close to Wichita Falls.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Hey, it's good to see you, Nisha.
Good to see you.
All right, bye bye. And right now we are going to our next ad, which is for Excedrin PM and anti-sneeze disorder. No, hey guys, let's talk about AmeriBraid. I mentioned that they're going to be bringing some a wheel for me, but they got so many cool new things that they'll be sharing at the show. They even got this nice new small table that'll fit right up in between your small wheel attachment, so you can get extra close. Now I built one. I joking with them. I said, guys, I go out and make one of these things, and then you put it down here for this, low price. I wish I could have, 3 weeks later, I'd have just bought it from you, because it's a beautiful adjustable little table. Anyway, you can find them at AmeriBraid.com, and Eric and Kevin, they have developed 3 of the best, packages out there. They have the Mastery, the Foundations, and the Get Grinding package. They've got, special prices for Blade Show. So go see them while you're there, or look at them at AmeriBraid.com and see their price and find out which one's right for you. The great thing about AmeriBraid is when you call them, you're going to speak with one of the owners, one of their staff, and they are the best around. Also, if you type in Templars 20 at checkout, you're going to get 20% off parts and accessories. That's an amazing offer. Enjoy it before it ends. Let me add in here the one thing that they have not excluded yet, but you may want to just let you know they could exclude it at any time, is the surface grinding attachment. They take a big hit on that at 20% off, but everything else, parts and accessories related, will always be 20% off as long as they're running the special. So go see AmeriBraid.com.
Oh yeah. Feeling it now.
with you guys going on Barry White on us, maybe it's not now's the time to talk about some really nice hardwood. And you can find that over at knife-wood.com. And that's with Oleg Bashkovich for great stabilized wood that ships from Russia to your home. Once you see his products, you will be sold. He's got great artistic ability and his customer service is great. Fellow makers all around use his wood in their handles, including myself. Go see him today. Guys, I'm going to step away from the mic for a moment because my dog's eyes are watering right now. I think he's got to go. So let's jump into something here that we mention often on the show. And it's that last 10%. What does that mean? And it's not just a quick, hey, make sure your knife is done well. We want to look at it from, say, a guild perspective, because that's how it affected me. What does the last 10% mean when you're finishing a blade? And I'll be right back.
Since you mentioned the guild perspective, I'll take a stab at this one. Although I know the rest of you have wonderful insights as well, probably better than mine. For me, the last 10%, to say it that way is a little bit deceiving because it makes you feel like I've done 90% of it, and if I should just finish this knife, then I'll be good. But that's not really how it works. It's really the last 10% of hand sanding. It's the last 10% of flattening on your handle material. And then it's the last 10% of checking the symmetry on your handle shaping. And it's the last 10% of your blade finish. And it's the last 10% of checking your spine for scratches. So again, I've been a proponent of this for a long time, that last little bit of effort is the difference between meh and awesome, right? But don't misunderstand when we say the last 10% is all of it. It's not the last 10% of the time in the course of the whole knife making effort. It's the last 10% or the extra 10% of effort of each tiny task is what makes the cumulative difference. Sir.
Hey, Jason, so let me ask you so where is the cutoff? So probably more experienced knife makers that can get to that final, I don't know, all those pieces together and make that perfect knife is great. But where does the last 10% and chasing your mistake into trash
oblivion
pile?
Gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, is there a happy medium where somebody says that, hey, at this point I should stop because I think this is good. If I go further, I risk, I'm not sure if my skills can get it further, and I should just stop while I'm ahead.
On that.
I mean, is there a line there?
One line would be that if you can see it, you should fix it. If you're able, right? Like if it looks like it's wrong, then it's wrong, and you should do your best to correct it. I start with that because there will be things wrong with your knife as a beginner that you cannot see yet. You don't know, right? So you do the best you can, and then you stop when you think you've got it as good as you can get it. That's one perspective. Another perspective would be, and I've said this before, it's not super popular in the knife making world. There will be masters that disagree with me, but you have to consider the knife itself and your intended price point and your intended market, right? So if you are capable of making a $200 hunter and you spend an extra 6 hours getting out scratches, it may be a $225 hunter if that's what your market supports, right? So you have not done yourself a wonderful service by spending lots and lots and lots of extra time. So again, I would argue the opposite as well, though. The difference between the ability to sell a $200 or a $300 hunter that looks almost the same is in accomplishing those final details over time so that your market position improves, right? Talking out of both sides of my mouth a little bit, but you got to decide where to stop, and it's got to suit you. But my basic rule is if you can see it, you should fix it. And if you think it's wrong, it probably is. Eric?
Yeah, so I agree with that. And a lot of things that people have to understand is that, everyone's 10% might be different because it is based on your skill level and what you're doing and how you said your price point and things like that. The thing is, whenever you're progressing as a knife maker, if you want to call it the 10%, that's where we gain a lot of our newer skills and are refining our skills and things that we're doing to make our knives better and make us better as a knife maker. It's refining that 10%. Whenever I'm doing a live stream and I'm forging a blade, I always tell people I'm trying to forge it to about 80 to 85% done. And then at the end, I'll planish it and do all that, make everything look super pretty and clean and even and all that stuff. A lot of the stuff that you're doing during the 90%, some of it's chaotic, some of it is just getting after it and getting the material either ground off or removed or stuff like that, to where you're just getting to that point, that 90%, so that you can start cleaning it up, making everything perfect, neat, ready to go, even, things like that. It's, if you can make it pretty during the process, that's fantastic. But a lot of the times we make everything pretty and clean and beautiful during that 10% of those steps. Like how he was saying, it's the 10%, the last 10% of grinding, the last 10% of sanding, the last 10% of your handle work. The difference between a person who focuses on the 10% on like a handle is the person who has a super smooth, clean finish on their handle, that has nice ergonomics, that has, the pins are sanded. You have your segments cleaned up and everything, and you've put that work in to have that nice quality finished knife. And it's not just that. It's, let's say we're focusing on the handle, and the last 10% is making sure your handle scales match your bolster, making sure that the handle scales are squared to your bolster. You didn't just cut the scales and hope that they kind of matched it, or you were just going to fill the gap with glue or whatever it may be. But it's all of the steps, going through the process of squaring things up, cleaning things up, making things match up right, flattening your tang so you don't have gaps going down it. It's that stuff. As you get better within knife making, it happens because you're trying to focus on that last 10%. And by default, you will become a better knife maker because you do it enough, getting those things perfect.
Yeah, you can start catching those things earlier and earlier in the process.
Yes.
What?
And you'll understand how we talk about like A to Z. You'll understand what you need to do at D, at H, at J, whatever, the steps during the process. You'll understand what you need to do in the middle of the process so that the last 10% is simple. You'll start seeing those things that you needed to correct earlier in the process so that it makes everything easier as you're trying to make things perfect.
Absolutely. Bill Ruppel says, don't do anything until you have to, is his way of saying that same thing. So, maybe you want to go to a 600 grit, finely hand finished, clean pulls and everything. If you do all of that before you get your handle scales fit, you're going to put some scratches on there, right? I mean, that's just one example. But keep learning to sequence your tasks in a way where you can finish one and you never have to come back to it. That's where the 10% thing comes in also. Yeah, that's a big piece of making a better knife.
And y'all said something quite important, is that as we make more knives, we start realizing the steps that we can take to prevent those things from happening. So we recognize where we may have missed opportunities that later in the knife, it's either harder to repair or we just get too lazy to fix. So they don't end up going there. Here's a good example though. Digging in with 36 grit paper and not realizing you've got to get down to the bottom of that, cavern you just created. Wouldn't it be better to maybe finish out that grind with, 80 or even 120? Sometimes I'll use 120 to grind out a knife and they start cleaning up very easy. If you hit 36 grit, you've got some caverns you've got to sand out of that knife if you don't do it right.
So part of making that last little bit is screwing it up slower, like Chip is talking about, right? Don't make mistakes that you then have to correct. But the other part comes with experience, like Eric is saying. So you screw it up slower, and then you're able to fix it faster also with experience. I don't want to come off like saying if you were just a good knife maker, you wouldn't make mistakes. No, that's not how it goes at all. That is fake news right there. As your skills develop, you get better at fixing the things you messed up. You get better at not messing up things so badly. But it never really stops that error correction or a constant fixing.
Well, you know that first Pinto knife I made with the ostrich skin sheath? You know, so that's also the one where I squished the guard when I was going to glue up the handle, you know, and then I had to make a new guard. And in the process of that, and Josh Ferran has seen this, I had to go back and clean things up to get the new guard to fit. And when I went and grounded the spine, where the false edge comes into it, it's not 90 degrees. There's an angle there, and it's fairly prominent when you look down the blade. You know, at that point I couldn't go back and fix it, but I could have if I'd been paying attention as I was trying to hastily get things cleaned back up and get back to where I was and not paying attention. And I actually didn't notice it until, you know, Josh said, "The heck is this, you idiot?" And when I got done crying, no, actually Josh looked at it and he noticed it, and also a journeyman smith looked at it, wonderful guy, and kindly pointed it out. Now I still treasure that knife because it's the first one I ever made. It's got a beautiful handle, beautiful profile. Just don't look down the spine and see that, you know, 2 or 3 degrees that it's off, because it is prominent. But those are the things that even we all still learn, the things that as you move along, you learn to get those things out. And sometimes you're still going to do it. We're still going to have to go fix things. A knife is a something that's 1,000 mistakes corrected as you build it. And very few makers can come out with the exact pattern profile and everything that they had going in, because they've all got to make adjustments along the way for the most part.
Yep. And like what you said, there is a big thing in saying that the easiest way to screw up a knife is get in a hurry.
Yeah, and that's what I did. I got in a hurry trying to glue up the handle, you know, and stuck the guard inside the jaws of the vise. And then number 2, got in a hurry trying to fix my mistake and get another guard on there real quick. Made a beautiful guard, made a beautiful knife. Everything about the knife, Josh, you know the other things that were in it. So I mean, I had some symmetry issues and this, that, and the other, but first knife, it looked good on that style. But the biggest things that were glaring were just I rushed. And I don't even know if I'm going to show my second knife to you guys at show, because you'll just rip it apart. And I know how much better it is than the first, but I don't think I can handle standing in front of Jason saying, "Do you want me to tell you what I think, or do you want me to critique it?" I'll honestly say I want you to critique it.
Yeah. I can tell you that the flaws I see, even in like my arrowhead dagger, are every single one of them is the result of me growing weary of fixing before the fixing was 100%.
Right.
You know, you like Chip was saying, you can work on something and work on it and rebuild it, and at some point, my humanity takes over, and I'm kind of like, forget this, it's good enough, right? But it never really is. I can still always see that stuff. And again, as you get better, your mistakes look smaller, but it doesn't make them go away.
Well, I wouldn't sell that knife to somebody knowing the flaws that exist in it, because I cleaned several of them up after talking to the guys down at Batson's. But my sons will treasure it someday, and they'll actually probably never even see the flaws in it. Is what it is.
No, they won't. And I'm going to tell you right now, there are people who will sell knives that are nowhere near as good as that.
Yeah.
All day, every day. It is what it is. I've got people that I look up to in the knife making community, and some of the knives that I see them sell here and there, I'm just like, okay, come on now. You gotta gotta correct some of those things. My guy, what are you doing?
I had that discussion.
Luckily, I'm friends enough with them that I'll tell them that in a DM. But because I'm open for them to tell me if they see me do something that was either dumb or that I could have corrected. Because again, I look up to these guys. But they have to be willing to take the constructive criticism too. Because if they leave a 36 grit grinding line on the spine on a knife that they're selling for $600, they should get called out.
Yeah,
for
but
it.
I had a very prophetic knife maker tell me recently when I was saying, I see these Mastersmith blades, and then I look at what they're selling at shows sometimes, and I scratch my head and go, these are not Mastersmith quality. And this prophetic, very, very bright person told me, he said, there are master knives, and they're $10,000, $20,000. 5, 10, 20,000, you pick the price. But then there's a price point. If I'm going to sell a $600 knife, just because I'm a master smith or a journeyman smith, how much do I put into this one around that price point? And there is making that almost perfect knife or perfect knife. The prophetic gentleman said to me that months can go into one knife. And I know that as well. So I would say that there's got to be a compromise in price, quality, and what you're trying to get across, but something also you still feel comfortable in putting your maker's mark on.
My thing is, it only takes a couple of seconds on a 120 grit belt to clean up a spine, and it doesn't take that long to do certain things to get rid of 36 grit grinding.
Oh, yeah.
And it also really doesn't take that long to make sure that you don't have any gaps between your scales and that you didn't get fish eyes around your pinholes and stuff like that. The way that I look at it is those are easy, simple things. I still sell knives. Hell, I sell knives that are $200, that are $175. I sell knives that are $300. I sold knives for $1,000. But it's one of those things where I can't put my name on something that doesn't have a minimal amount of work done to it. And if I was going to put a Mastersmith stamp or logo on it, it doesn't matter what the knife sells for. It's got to be a certain amount of quality. Most of the Mastersmith knives that I see are absolutely just gorgeous. So I got to give them credit for that. And they put in work that I have never even come close to. Some of their crazy things that they're doing with frame handle takedowns and stuff like that I just try and wrap my brain around. Yeah. And I'm like, what? You did what now? Well, and they take it apart, and I'm looking at it going, how did you even think about how to put this thing together like that? This is crazy.
Well, some of you guys may know of me talking and showing you last year some photos of not a master smith or journeyman smith, but a extremely well-known knife maker. I'm talking top of the top. And I was overlooking at one of their knives, and I looked at one side and I looked at the other side, and it was two totally different grinds. And Mark, do you remember me showing you that? Don't mention
on Josh's table.
Yeah, no, don't.
Don't.
You
weren't supposed to say anything.
I know.
Don't mention the maker. No. Don't mention the maker. But I mean, this guy is so well known and so well respected. And he had this one knife at Blade Show, and I looked at it, and I was just like, it let me down. And I think when you're saying that, Eric, if I have that reputation, I can't let people see. I'm not going to have a dent and scratch sale, and I'm not going to have anything that sets out for the public to see that they can, lower their opinion of what my quality is. And the person's a wonderful person and makes beautiful products. I just was taken back by that particular one.
The way I look at it, when you're a mastersmith, your name means something. It's not like me. I'm not a journeysmith. I'm not a mastersmith. And still, my name still means something. Yes. People have a lot of people know who I am. A lot of people have seen my work. A lot of people can tell if I've made a knife or like if it's my style or whatever. A lot of people can tell that. My name means something. And if I'm going to put my maker's mark on it, it needs to have a certain amount of quality, no matter what the hell price I'm selling it
Right.
for, because
Absolutely.
that will exist longer than me, and it needs to have a certain amount of quality, or it should never leave my shop.
And I can't. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say it's one of those things where the people who have achieved a certain title with that, I mean, their name carries a lot of weight, and a lot of people don't think about it. But I'm going to go with a Forged in Fire thing. I have friends that have been on Forged in Fire who have competed and not won, competed and won, and people who have simple things like their blade not cutting during the actual it will kill test as good as the other guys have lost business purely because those people think that their knives just can't be sharpened or they don't know how to sharpen.
Yeah.
It's something as simple as that. If you let something slip like that and that becomes a thing that you're accidentally known for, your name is so famous that you lose things because of that.
Well,
and
I told you
it's just a big
when
deal.
I told you I had Carolina Chips Lure Company back in for 20 years, late 90s and 2000s, and early 2000s, and there
when you were a masturbator.
Well, that's fine. When I was, but to get masturbator status and to be known as a well-known masturbator that was featured in Bassmaster, FLW Outdoors, on ESPN, had some lures that caught, on Bassmaster Classics and different tournaments and stuff. If you're going to be known as a masturbator, you can't let that slip, because every one of my lures got signed with a pen, Chip Carlisle, on the bottom of each one of them in ink, and before it got the final coat. So, if you're going to be a masturbator or a master knife maker, you need to make sure you hold up your end of the bargain for your credentials there. So,
yep,
most definitely.
Yeah.
And that doesn't just go for master makers and things like that. If you're going to get into
it, goes for wherever you are.
I always tell people, whenever I'm doing my videos and I do my little soapbox things, or my TED Talks or whatever you want to call it, in the Shop Talk Tuesdays or live streams, how much work you put into your knife and understanding what the knife's intended use is for. Jason's talked. A lot of us have talked about that. If you're going to make a camp knife, make it a camp knife. If you're going to make a chef's knife, have it be a chef's knife. Yeah. There's things that go into it: ergonomics, edge geometry, what you're planning on. If it needs to be able to strike a ferro rod, if you're going to skin with it, are you doing things that are going to make it easier for the person to actually skin with it, or are you just making a knife and calling it a skinner? Whenever we're thinking about how we do our quality, it all comes into the same play. You got to think about the finishing work with handle ergonomics. If you just put a handle on the knife and it's not comfortable, people won't use it. It could be the best heat treated knife on the planet. It's uncomfortable, people won't use it. They'll use some other random knife that's comfortable in their hand.
The Walmart Forged in Fire series.
Yeah, there's just so many things that go into how we do our knives and the finishing of them, and thinking through the whole process of knife making. Making sure that if you're going to be a knife maker, if you can think through just going through the knife making process, having a good heat treat. So understanding what your steel is, understanding how to heat treat it, and get a good consistent heat treat each time you make a knife. If you can focus on your edge geometry for the intended use of the knife, and if you can focus on the right handle ergonomics or profile for the intended knife, for the knife that has the intended purpose for what it's going to be used for, those things, it will make you a better knife maker.
Yeah.
You see, you'll have people who will just kind of put whatever on whatever and call it whatever. I always go back to the Etsy knives that are a chef's cleaver, camp, pairing, hunter, tactical, bat, knife, and it's it's like these knives that have like 16
That's all the
titles
adjectives,
to
yeah.
one. Yeah, and if you're going to make a specific knife for a specific reason, learn what those things are and grow within that. A lot of the guys who have been making knives for a really long time, they can look at a knife, and when you tell them, "Yeah, I made this hunter," they're going to look at it and go, "I don't know if I'd exactly call it that." Or I made this Skinner, and you're like, "I don't know if I'd exactly call it that." Or I made this Skinner, and it's a 3/8 inch thick spine. Or I made this fillet knife. It has no flex to it. It's just a fillet profile on a 1/4 inch thick blade. Like,
and you can baton with it as well.
Yes, and there's things that go into the knives whenever you're thinking about it, and this is one of those things that I always tell people: just do your research, look at pictures, read about it on forums, and if you want to make a particular type of knife, there's lots of stuff out there that'll help you get better.
Here's your next YouTube Makers Challenge. You need to present this to Tyrell and them guys. The universal knife, and somebody has to create a blade. And name all the things that it can effectively do. And maybe it has to do it, it has to do at least 5 jobs really good from one particular design. I think that would probably be a difficult challenge to find that. But all this talk about, knives to clean fish. What am I talking about? Help me. What kind of knife do you use to clean fish? Fillet knife. Thank you.
A good
half-inch thick fillet knife. Yes.
A good 3/16 inch camp knife.
Yeah.
With about a 5-inch, 6-inch blade, can do almost anything that you.
Yeah, I think the old bushcraft knife is probably out there. But speaking of fillet knives, and Eric talking about his masturbating and my fishing lure business got me thinking about Lawrence Lake and Maritime Knife Supply. So if you go to MaritimeKnifeSupply.com, you can get great products and service in Canada and internationally. They ship all the time to the U.S. Check out Maritime for great deals and service. Steel abrasives, handle material, kilns, grinders, other tools and equipment. Know that Maritime provides the knife maker what they need to get wonderful blades made and get them done right. Also, while we're at it, our chief expert here, Mr. Eric Rivers, he brings to us the Rivers Experience. You can find them at theriversexperience.com. Oh yeah. You need to let Eric and the Rivers Experience teach you the finer arts of knife making at the Rivers Experience on his website. You can buy some knives and things there, patterns and so on. You can also see him on YouTube at the Rivers Experience and at the TRE Workshop on Facebook. Join the community there and join in a family-friendly, fun environment of people supporting each other on their knife-making journey.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
And we're forging live Saturdays at 6:30 p.m.
There you go. Forging live. See, I never got into making baits on YouTube back in the early days of YouTube. And then to think about it from what you guys called me, I just could have, if they had OnlyFans back there, I could have probably made a lot of money making baits on OnlyFans. So
just being masturbated.
Yeah.
There's a guy that my son watches. His channel's Marlon Bates.
Yeah.
And he does a lot of cool stuff with his. I've really enjoyed the live streaming aspect of YouTube, probably more than the video making lately. It's really cool to do the live streams and be able to actually talk to people.
Well, you don't have all that editing to do afterwards, do you?
Process.
Doesn't it?
No, you have none of that, but you actually get to, whenever you're filming a video and you're talking, you're just talking to a camera. You're talking to future people who are probably going to respond to you later in the future. But really, it's just you talking in your shop to no one. And again, I can only imagine if someone was walking down my alley at like 7 p.m. on a Saturday, and I'm just out there talking like somebody else is having a conversation with me, I'm answering questions, and I'm talking loud enough so that you can hear me over the forge and all that stuff. And my neighborhood's super quiet, so they could probably hear me talking like 4 yards over each directions, and they have to be wondering every Saturday, what the heck is he doing? No one else is. They just assume I got multiple personalities or something like that.
Schizophrenic.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, but I enjoy the actual communication part. So whenever I'm forging something and somebody has a question about what I'm doing, or all those different things, that is just cool. If I could just live stream on the channel, it'd be great. But the monetization sucks.
Well, they probably think you're over there talking to yourself, and I can see your neighbors saying, "Hey, those two bastards are over there talking to themselves again." And remarkably, if you go to F&N Metalworks, which is Two Bastards Texas Smithy and Supplies outside of Dallas, you can find them at facebook.com/Two Bastards with an E, BASTERDS. Nita and Frankie have been supplying blacksmith and bladesmiths with all of our hammers, and they can supply you with your hammers. But they've been doing this for over 6 years. And if you're looking for a choice for your next professional hammer, mine will be here on Monday. Check out the genuine Two Bastards fat beans, not flat beans, fat beans, hand-forged dog heads, and a wide variety of restored hammers and tools from the U.S., as well as high-quality vintage tools imported from the U.K., Germany, and Austria. Check them out on Facebook or Instagram. Small peen hammers and steel and brass mini swage blocks, jewelry, necklaces, bracelets, earrings, hairpins, etc. Shirts and caps, handles. Man, he wrote a lot of stuff. And wedges, packs for your own hammer reefer. Man, that sounds like the Walmart of blacksmithing supplies. And I say that jokingly. Wrote a lot of stuff. Frank told me that he says, "Hey, we're wanting to become a full service dealer for all things blacksmithing and knife making." And I wish him a lot of luck. So I say that tongue in cheek laughing, but Frank is one of the nicest guys that you will ever meet. You need to check him out at Two Bastards, TWOBASTERDS on Facebook.com. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, they are an official sponsor for my channel. Not like he just gives me a hammer here and there, but they're an actual paid sponsor for my channel. And they're the only sponsor that I've really been willing to do that with, because I genuinely like Frank and Nita as just human beings,
good people.
Just even outside of the knife making community, just them as actual people and the type of character they have and things like that. They are some of the most amazing people that you will get to hang out with or meet or just conversate with, and they talk to everybody.
Oh, he's invited me. He's invited me to come to the shop when I'm, I work down in Waco. When I come over, and he's like, it's an hour and a half away. Come on over. And so everybody knows, you said they sponsor the Rivers Experience. We bring them on here as a sponsor, but I did pay for my hammer. So guys, you need to know out there, if we are putting brands out there, we're buying, we're getting the same discounts you are, and we won't put anybody up that's not good. So.
Correct. And they can see I've got hours upon hours upon hours upon hours of footage on my channel using their hammers. And I've got 5 of their hammers. I've got 2 more that are getting made right now. So it's not just something that we're saying, hey, yeah, we use them and they're pretty good. You can watch 2-3 hour long live streams of me just using their hammers to forge blacksmith knives and all kinds of different things, proven that they are very useful. And the cool thing about Frank is, let's say you want to get into knife making, or you're already knife making, and you either have some hammers or you have no hammers. You can contact him, because you're going to actually DM him and then get on a phone call with him and say, this is my plans. I have this hammer right now. I kind of thinking about getting this one or this one. And he'll suggest what you should get and trying to help you figure out what makes the most sense.
He did that with me.
Whether it be for your budget. Yeah. And there's not many people that do that. Most of the time when you're going to buy a hammer from a blacksmith, you're going to go on their website. You're going to select from what they have available at that time. Maybe sometimes you can actually communicate with them a little bit, but it's not going to be that personable communication just out of the blue like you get with Frank and Nita.
Yeah.
And I just think that, again, just amazing people who will actually help save you money. If you don't have a budget that's crazy, they'll try to figure out a way to get you into the thing, even if it just means them telling you how to take a Harbor Freight hammer and turn it into the hammer that you need, and you're not even buying a hammer from them.
Right. And he did that with me when I was talking about some of the Harbor Freight hammers that I have reshaped to do other things. Eric, the most important question, and it just hit me after an hour and 46 minutes. You're not under the bunk bed tonight.
No, I haven't been for a few podcasts.
And the shadow looks like you've got.
I'm in my office.
Oh, I'll say the shadow looks like you've got a Christmas tree up to your left.
I have this is an all year tree. It gets decorated in fall, Easter, Christmas. We have different decorations.
Excellent. So I did call the shadow. That's cool. I was like, that looks
it's your Memorial Day tree.
Yeah, and there it is. Nice. There it is.
And but no, we're at my office space. I typically can't use this because we have like the kids running around crazy. But lately, I've been able to either have them in a different place, or we've been kind of able to get it good because this is where my computer setup is. I typically take my laptop and I go to my son's room and get under the book bed.
Have you thought about?
But when I'm right here, it's 5 feet from my internet.
Yeah, well, you can give them Benadryl brownies about 30 minutes prior to the show. You're good.
That's one way.
Good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that would work with one of them. The one that's ADHD. I'm pretty sure it would just keep her awake.
Hey, we're gonna get we're all gonna pitch in to get Jason Fry a set of drumsticks for the next show, guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
there you go.
Or just a set of drums.
He has been playing the drums tonight, though, has he not?
That has been largely outside of my control. Kids are.
You're fine. You're fine.
My kids are running around like little psychos, which is what they actually do all the time.
I'm busting your chops, but you've kissed the mic, you've whacked the mic, you've done that. You were beating on the table a while ago, and I'm like, dude, every time you do that, I got to go find that and edit it out of there. I'm going to have to wrap you in bubble. I'm going to have to wrap you in.
Leave it in there. My wife's been sneezing.
I got to edit her out of there. I'm going to have this show. This show is, what's the name of this show? Something about.
My wife's been sneezing in the background and the kids are running
Bing Bang Pow.
Again.
Yeah. Oops, I did it again. Bing Bang Pow. So no, you guys are fine. I say those things in jest, like we can talk to each other about our knives. Do you want me to tell you you're a good podcaster, or do you want me to critique your podcasting?
I just want you to name it Chip's a Masturbator.
I get in trouble for that now.
Yeah, you might.
It's kind of funny, but I don't need that coming up in searches.
But it would be spelt right. It would be.
I know, but if people do searches on the internet and it comes up and somebody down the road's like, he's got a.
No, I know.
So
now, but I'll tell you what.
So Jerry Fisk, y'all know that name probably, famous knife maker.
Yeah.
He talks about making each knife so that you wouldn't be scared to see it in a museum 200 years from now. That's his approach, is to
there's not
do
a
it
knife
for the
I've
long
made
haul, or do it for to last. That goes
there's
for
not
everything,
a knife.
even silly podcasts. Like I don't know if some alien in 1,000 years.
Some of my knives look like a caveman made them.
I hope.
Don't get defensive. Don't get defensive. You're fine. I love you, brother. But I will tell you guys this. There's not a knife I've made, even my first knife, that I'd be afraid for people to see 200 years from now. I'd be very proud of it, because 200 years from now, they'll probably be worth 6 times what they are today, just based on the fact they're 200 years old. So, and Kyle Royers will have all rusted away because somebody put them in a real humid environment. Might have been stuck in some dark, dry drawer somewhere to be forgotten to history, and then all of a sudden it's on Antiques Roadshow 3024, so there you go. Hey guys, I just dropped some money today, made my 50% down payment on a Clark Iron Forge from Clark Taplin out out of Tennessee. Going to go pick that baby up and save about $700. But I will tell you, 25 tons, 220 volt, at literally 2/3 the price of other well-known press makers. And I didn't get a special price. But ClarkIronForge.com, you will see that Clark Iron Forge, they've grown from just a few forges to making hydraulic presses that make a real difference and are at an affordable price. And now is your time to get one. But I will tell you what, when I was looking at other well-known brands of, he also makes wonderful forges. He's just redesigned his forge design. So that's coming out. But from the hydraulic press, very well-known hydraulic presses out there, his price was right. That not only is he a businessman, he's just a darn good human being. I don't know. We're going to invite him. I want to invite him down to the Alabama Forge Council meeting so I get more an opportunity to get to know him. But I haven't met a nicer guy. And that's a lot if you know Josh Ferran and how nice he is. But you guys need to check out ClarkIronForge.com and see what he has to offer, because I guarantee you'll be squishing some metal very quick. So much so, I also want to point out, I was directed to him by our buddy over at Two Bastards. Frank sent me his way when I was getting ready to buy the other brand, and Frank raved on him. Frank makes beautiful hammers with his Clark press, and that's all I got to say about that. Go on his site, look him up, and see the who's list of people that are using a Clark Iron Forge press. Clark Iron Forge. I'll say Clark Iron Forge is their website.com, but they're known for their hydraulic presses and his forges. Go right ahead, Derek. You got to see them?
Yeah, I got to see them in person. They're good, very well made presses. They're not just some random scrap stuff put together. Like they're good presses. And saw a demonstration with them and everything, with Jay Nilsson doing his whole canister Damascus stuff at the Texas Select Show. And they're good presses, and I think you're going to absolutely love it. I mean, 25 tons. I've used the 12-ton Coal Iron Works press, and that thing puts in a lot of work. So 25 tons is definitely going to. As
Jason Fry and Josh said, you can move more steel faster. And here's my goal. I don't know if I'm really going to go down the layered Damascus things like a lot of you guys do. I want to. I'm sure I will, but in the beginning, number one, it's going to take a lot of that squishing the big thick steel down smaller, quicker. The other thing is I want to get into making some crucible steel. I think that's really cool.
Some whoops.
Yeah, and I've watched the guy make that for a few years on YouTube, and you'll see him on Facebook as well. And I want to get those little get those little concrete little containers and fill them up with all the goodies. Mm-hmm. Put it in the fire and go get it out. And then the first thing he does when he does that, he hits it with a hammer, and then he takes it to his press, and then he starts pressing it out. And it's just the coolest thing. I love that pattern. I love those crucible steel type. So we'll see where it goes from that. But in addition to that, I'm sure I will want to do some things like some kumai and some other things, but those will just come later.
Once you get the tool, you'll find all kinds of things you want to do with it. That's just the nature of the beast. You get a variable speed grinder, and suddenly you're doing all these different frame handles or something. You get a mill, and suddenly you're not just slotting guards anymore. You're building all kinds of stuff. I mean, I think a press is a key piece of thing, key piece of kit that'll certainly open up your world. At least I hope so. I'm gonna build mine.
I think, Mark's going to come up, and we're going to shell pecans with it very carefully, though.
So I made a Warhammer with the coal iron work, and being able to punch the hole in it, and being able to it's crazy. I had never made a hammer ever prior to this, and they did an axe and a hammer class for it was like a couple of hours of us just screwing around with things up at the Bavarian Blacksmith Experience in Frankenmuth. That's the people I'll be doing the Dragon Forge stuff with. But it was just literally showing a couple little things, and then they let us loose for a few hours.
Right.
And I came out of it with a Warhammer that looked like a
Warhammer.
daggum Warhammer. And it was crazy. What a press was. If I was forging that, that would take forever.
Well, I'm going to get.
Forever.
His presses come with. Yeah, his presses come with a drawing die, a flat die. But I do plan on getting a canister die, and also I want to get the hammer die with the drift in it. So
you can weld the canister die. Figure out what you.
It's not a hard one to make.
Purchase that.
I do agree, and I have made several tools, but sometimes I just like supporting the people that are out there supporting us. So I'm able to.
Yeah. I mean,
did you get a foot pedal?
I did not get a foot pedal. I may add that later, especially if I'm doing something real heavy or something. I know that would come into play, or else I've got to have you come over to my house to, run the uppy downy. But maybe at some point in time.
The benefit to the foot pedal is that you can use like top tools, and so if you don't have like specific dies to do certain things, you can hold on to your piece and then put the top tool in and use that for like your set downs and stuff. It's really hard to do it without a
third person help. Yeah.
And if people don't understand what you're talking about, it'd be like taking a what do you call it? The two
like
opposing pieces.
A
fulling tool. Perfect. That was it. That's exactly what I was thinking about. Taking a fullering tool, and usually typically you're going to use that with somebody helping to hold that, or you're using another tool to hold it down. You will you can hold it that with one hand, put your steel in there with the other, hit the press with your foot, and it can come down and you can keep pressing it out.
Yeah,
I don't know if I made that any better trying to explain it or not, but you guys know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Like, it's like, know that thing. I can't remember. What do you call it, guys? And this, that, and the other, and you press it down, and it's like, fullering tool. It's like, we know exactly what Jim's talking about.
Stuff for the guy. Yeah, totally got it.
Yeah. It was in that movie with Mel. No, not Mel Gibson. No, not Mel Brooks. The other Mel. It's like, okay. And that takes me to.
It had horses.
Yeah. And if you need good heat, you need to go to Majestic Forge at majesticforge.com. They manufacture gas forges ranging from 2 to 5 burners, and with many different forges to choose from. And we are sure that you will find a Majestic Forge to suit your needs at majesticforge.com. And I got a good buddy. It's going to be at Blade Show. And I have a good feeling that you'll find people like Mareko Malmasi and Jeff Fader will probably be over hanging out there. I heard Jeff Fader's going to Blade Show this year. 2 great podcasters and great knife makers. You're going to find them at Broadbeck Ironworks at some point in time, and that's at broadbeckironworks.com. Broadbeck Grinder is one of the most versatile 2x72s out there on the market. They offer build your own and fully assembled painted grinders. The Broadbeck 2x72 has an easy-to-assemble, bolt-together design with the capability to run a belt vertically and horizontally. They offer a full line from basic chassis to a fully capable variable speed machine with all the attachments you need. And if you put in Templars 10 at discounts, at checkout, you're going to get 10% off parts and accessories. We have a Broadbeck machine over at our shop, at Josh Howard's shop, I should say, where we have the Alabama Knife Makers Guild meeting, and it's just a beautiful machine. So a lot of great machines out there, and Ryan Broadbeck is another one of the leaders in the industry. So anybody here running a Broadbeck?
I've got
you did. Yeah. Were you instrumental in getting that one up at the guild?
Yeah.
Thought you were.
My brother runs a Broadbeck too. It's a good machine.
Yeah, a really good machine. And Ryan is one of those guys, another one of those guys with the biggest hearts in knife making as well. And he and his buddy Vince, just good people. So go over and see Jeff Fader and Mareko Malmasi if they're there. I hear they're going to have JoJo the Flying Gorilla with them that'll be signing autographs and doing balloon art. So get a balloon monkey or a balloon arrow or a balloon hat or a balloon
balloon
a balloon Shegman knife logo. So I don't know.
I really like their grinder, and I like the Ameribraid grinder. I mean, when you're talking about tools that just look real pretty and are really useful,
Yeah.
I think those are some good looking ones. And the price point is really just good.
It is, especially right now with the show prices.
Yeah, and when you think about how much money you make off of a 2x72, like how much more efficient it makes you. I mean, that is like, talk about a workhorse in your shop. 2x72 will make your money back in no time. It is ridiculous. And their grinders are beautiful. And like, there are other companies that make them and then make really good looking ones. Like Paragon has one. Of course, then you have your Burr King, which are like 10 grand, which are absolutely wonderful grinders. But man, for the price for what you can get, Broadbeck or Ameribraid right now,
and
it's actually pretty good because they have it really inflated. You know, you have compared to what grinders cost 4 years ago to what they cost now.
Yeah.
Everything else is inflated, but the cost of grinders is still.
You think that Grizzly 2x42 whatever they made is gonna ever make it? I haven't heard much of it in the last several months.
Yeah. Once it got the that little
update on the,
it's crazy that all they needed to do was add an extra ground wire and it fixed the issue for everyone.
Did you get that? Did you get that fixed?
Oh yeah. And,
how did they fix? How did they fix it? Did you have to go and replace it, or did you send it in, or what you do?
No, it's just they sent a ground wire that goes from your VFD to the frame.
Yeah.
And that fixed.
So it was just shorting on the frame.
Everything.
Yeah. So
and the motor was getting too hot and messing up, and they sure enough.
Are you using yours?
Added a ground wire, fixed everything.
You use it?
Yeah, I use mine.
How often do you use it?
I mean, not super often, just because I use my 2x72 for everything. But whenever I change, I'll tell you the weak point on the 2x42 is their platen.
Right.
It comes with this like 16th inch thick piece of bent like angle iron with like a if you want to call it like a
little graphite pad or something.
Yeah, pad on it. So that is just not usable.
Can you put a piece of glass on it?
Not
Can you put a piece of glass on it?
You could, but for me, what I'm doing right now is I'm making my own platen for it, and it'll make it exactly what you need it to be. And it's not super complicated to make a platen for a grinder
as opposed to like one of the Dayton machines, the 2x42s that are bad out of hell speed.
Yeah.
That it'd be very difficult to make a platen for that. So everybody sticks a piece of glass on it.
Yeah, this thing goes down to a really low speed. It is pretty stout for what it is, and you have people right now. I mean, Matt Rich has his small wheel attachment on his 2x42, and that's all he did was he took one of the small wheel attachments, made a little arm for it, and boom, it fits right in. And he just uses a 2x48 belt.
So is that a 2x48 or 2x42 machine?
It's a 2x42, but you can run 2x48 belts on it if you're running like a small wheel.
Okay.
Because your arm is longer. Yeah.
Is he still running his 2x72, or is he switched over that machine? Because he's making some pretty knives. He is still running his 72 inch. Oh, okay.
Yep, he runs his 2x72, but it's nice having the 2x42 because again, like for me, my end goal for the 2x42 is purely just to sharpen knives. Because I have not just purely to sharpen, but if I'm working with like a chef's knife that I'm going to be...
You don't have to worry about burning it.
Correct.
Yeah.
And my current grinder has really fast and melt your face off speed. And I've been grinding everything with that. And I've got chef's knives that are paper thin. And it's stressful.
Yeah, well, when
grinding with my 2x72,
when steel get
with like a 400 grit.
Yeah,
belt.
when steel gets that thin, the heat sink on it is so quick. It's just boom. It's just instantly hot. So it's cool. So
Yes,
and for the beginning maker, they can spend a couple $100 on that versus getting a Dayton or something like that and have a much better machine now. Well, it's good. It's good. I just haven't heard much on it.
I kind of like the idea of having a dedicated small wheel machine or a dedicated horizontal machine. That would be perfect for. It doesn't feel like it takes forever to switch your grinder over.
But does.
Man, when you get in the rolling of things, you're flowing and you're like, oh crap, I need the small wheel. So you got to take the thing apart and put it back together. Yep. It really breaks your workflow.
I got rid of my oscillating drum sander because I would continue to go back to it with worn out drums sanding because I didn't want to flip the machine sideways and go through having to change it all out. So I gave it away so it would force me to, and it improved the quality of my knives.
There you go. Yeah. Whatever it takes, Chip. Whatever it takes.
Maybe I'll get rid of that date and donate it to the cause, and maybe get one of those 2x42 machines with a small wheel, upgrade. I see what he did with TR Maker. Yeah.
It's a great little grinder for what it is. And again, I would suggest if people want to get into knife making, you get yourself, here's the best part about our current era within knife making is you have all of these companies making entry level tools that didn't really exist 5 years ago.
Right.
You could only buy a handful of 2x72s whenever I first started making knives. And especially for other people in the group right now that have been making knives, heck, even longer than I have. You only were able to select certain ones. You know how many people have KMGs? A lot of people have KMGs by Beaumont Metalworks.
Well, I will say this.
That was what
you've seen these memes on Facebook where they'll put up a picture of something from the 70s and say, if you know this is how, you're this old or whatever, if you recognize this. So I'm sure that in a couple of years with this 2x42 out, they'll be putting up the Harbor Freight 1x30 and saying, if you know what this is, you're a really old knife maker. So
right.
But yeah, 2x42, Vevor, Anvil. Vevor makes tongs now too. I'm gonna do a review on their tongs. The tongs are actually pretty dang nice. And just get your hammers from Frank, and it's just simple stuff.
Yeah, Vevor's
simple thing that I would suggest is just being able to get these things and not having to spend $1,000 on an anvil or spending $2,500 to $3,000 on a 2x72, or getting a $500 forge from somebody. The fact that you can get forges for like $100 nowadays. It's just, there's so many things that you can get nowadays that doesn't really cost a whole lot of money. You could spend $1,000 and have a decent
What's funny to me, so one of the classic books in our field is The $50 Knife Shop by Wayne Goddard. And that's built on the premise of building your stuff from scrap. So he takes a washing machine motor and a stone wheel and makes this $50 grinder that he makes, whatever his stuff with. It's funny to me how much things have changed where now you cannot find a washing machine motor. There's no such thing, right?
Yeah.
You don't have not everybody has a good junk pile anymore. But in exchange for that, like you say, you can find Vevor things, you can find manufactured stuff. So the industry has definitely shifted a little bit away from those of us who want to make our own stuff, right? The resources to do that, it's just different. It's just different than it was even 20 years ago, but especially 50. It's quite a bit different. But it's cool. It's cool that the industry has responded with some good tools that don't cost an arm and a leg either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree. And I also agree that this has been a wonderful show. Thank you guys for saying that. I hope that this coming week is fruitful for you guys that are getting your final knives made. I hope that Blade Show is great. I'm so looking forward to seeing each of you, as well as others, that it's been sometimes a year since we've seen each other. to reconvene and refoster those relationships and Blueberry Moonshine and all the other things that take place in the shadows of Blade Show. But guys, if you've got questions or comments, product reviews, show or guest ideas, subscribe and email us at theknivestemplars@yahoo.com. You can DM us on Facebook in the Knives Templars podcast group or visit us at theknivestemplars.com to always stay up to date. Go out there and see Josh's new picture front and center as a co-host there, and got his we've got his profile on the co-host page. You can go back there and read all about his things that he does. And, this episode is sponsored by the Rivers Experience, Redeem Steel, knife-wood.com, Ameribraden Templars, 20 off for parts and accessories. Majestic Forge, Pop's Knife Supplies, Maritime Knife Supply, Housemade, Phoenix Abrasives, and Templars 10 at checkout for 10% off, and Broadbeck Ironworks for Templars 10 at checkout for parts and accessories. We'd like to also congratulate and welcome our new sponsors, Clark Iron Forge. Clark Taplin, again, makes one of the great presses out there in a forge, and you can find him at clarkironforge.com. And finally, F&N Metaworks. That's Two Bastards. You can find them at facebook.com/Two Bastards. And that's BASTERDS, Two Bastards. So go out and see where he's at and see what he has to offer. Our availability is iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Anchor, Amazon, YouTube Video. Guys, go out there and subscribe to us on YouTube. We'd love to see you there. And finally, CastBox. Our list of resources, suggested materials, social media handles. See us at Knives Templars Podcast on Facebook or at knivestemplars.com. Again, you can always find us at knivestemplars@yahoo.com. Finally, guys, we are the best podcast out there. Everybody else trying to listen to them this week with 14 hours of driving just sounded like a bunch of cicadas in the background. Oh wait, that was the cicadas in the background.
That's probably what it was. Yeah.
That was drowning out the.
So guys, you need to get your tires balanced. Yep.
Yeah. Guys, go out there and visit our other podcasters. All a bunch of good guys, and we look forward to seeing them at the Blade Show as well. So with that, I say good night and oinky, oinky, oinky. And the rest of you fine gentlemen are going to say what?
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
See you at Blade Show.
The Eagle has landed.
Brought to you by Porkhouse Productions. Oinky, oinky, oinky.
There we go. And we'll be back we're recording on Thursday in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Because I have to go up to Kentucky. Got a little thing. Hatfields and McCoys are back into it again, and I've got. I'm on
they need a safety manager.
No, I'm actually on the Hatfield side of the family,
okay.
And so I'm going to go up there and lend my skill set.
Nice. Be sure to get you one of those reflective shirts like Mark, so they can. I think that helps in feuds.
So easily see.
Probably does. Nah.
The high vis shirt.
Man, I'm so tickled with how our shirts came out for you guys. Order you one if you want one. You don't have to, but the shirts that we got, the dry fit as well as the cotton, the printing on the back for the sponsors, all of it is crisp, but I couldn't believe how crisp the sponsors came out as well. So I'm looking forward to that. Your logo, Eric, looks excellent on the shirt. So
yeah, I'm going to be ordering mine. Of course, it's slated to not come in until the 14th.
You can pay.
So
you can
after. The show.
It can be after the show. It's fine. I mean, you can pay $15 more and get it on time, but I wouldn't do that.
Oh, if that's I don't know. I mean, if that's the thing, I might.
Well, if you hit the link and go in there, you can pay $15 more, and it'll be in like Wednesday of this week.
Okay, I'll look at that and see. Yeah, I love the shirt. Because I still have my other one, and I wear it.
And we will have Knives Templar stickers at Blade Show to pass around. They came in the other day. There's also a bottle of special hot sauce that came with them. That's something a Sticker Mule apparently does. Is they have a mule sauce.
Yep. Oh yeah, the mule sauce.
I would like to have that awesome bottle since you don't want it because
because I don't actually eat hot sauce.
Yours came with the
I bought
bottle?
enough stick.
I've got like the little
I bought enough stickers that I think it did.
No. You buy enough, they send you the good stuff.
If you buy 50 stickers, Eric, you're lucky to get a
Step
packet.
your game up, Eric.
Dude, I got like 100 stickers.
I bought like 350.
I would.
Those are rookie numbers. You got to pump them numbers up.
You got to jack it up.
They're not expensive. The stickers are really good price and they're good
Mm-hmm.
quality.
Yeah, but you get hot sauce with it.
You ought to try. I don't know if you're not a hot sauce guy at all. That's fine, but you ought to try. It's not overly hot at all. It's less than I would say.
I am a hot sauce.
No, it's like really.
But it's got a really good taste to it. So I would, before you give it away, I would probably do that. I'll bring some shit to bed. I'll bring some shit to bed, and we can all eat that on tater chips while we're there.
I'm down. I love hot sauce. I eat hot sauce all the time.
Me too. It can't.
But I make my own hot sauce.
And I will tell you, there is a point when it gets too hot that it's just stupid and there's no need to prove it anymore.
Yeah. You can't enjoy it anymore.
So this stuff, it's titled Shit the Bed. It's hot enough to get my attention. And then a little bit more, but it's not so much I don't enjoy the food. So I do like it. But I remember 15 years ago, I would eat Thai chili paste and I thought I was going to die. And I can sit and eat Thai chili paste like, eating ice cream now. So undoubtedly we adjust to it or we kill enough.
As you get older, your taste buds start dying.
Shut up, Eric. You get older. Shut up. You can't.
Hey, I turned 40. Okay, I'll be turning 40 in less than a month.
Happy birthday, little man. Little man. Young man, I should say. Young man, not little man.
June 26th.
I will be 60 in 9 months. Guys, I celebrated 16.
That's it?
Just 60. Yeah, I know. Somebody did tell me that. They go, my gosh, your beard's getting white. And I was like, I can play Santa Claus. But I celebrated 16 years with my company today. That was exciting. So,
nice. All right.
You guys aren't old enough to celebrate 16 years with anybody. But my previous company, I worked for them for 12 years and the one before that for 6 years and then a couple other jobs. But it's really kind of neat. And we had somebody that celebrated their 50th anniversary for our company. My. And I think they're only like 68, 69.
They've been
working forever. Wow.
Yeah. Wow. And it's not uncommon to have somebody that's been with our company for 35, 40, and 50 years is kind of pushing it, but occasionally we'll have a 50-year person come through.
What company is it? What's the name?
I work for Wayne Sanderson Farms, and we are I believe right now, the third largest poultry supplier in the United States. So you can buy our retail products under Sanderson Farms and a couple other brands. You can also buy it we're two companies that came together 2 years ago, Wayne Farms and Sanderson Farms, or Wayne Sanderson. We're in 23 complexes across the United States. And if you eat Chick-fil-A, if you eat Zaxby's, if you eat a number of other brands, you've most certainly had our product. And it's a good family company with 26,000 people in it. It's such a wonderful environment.
That's a big family. That's good.
It is.
Good.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
That's
but
awesome,
and I had an HR manager one day say, you worked in pharmaceuticals and you worked in the semiconductor industry. Now you're working in poultry. Why would you dumb down your resume? And I said to him, well, let me tell you this. When there's a recession, people won't buy their drugs. When there's a depression, they won't buy their drugs. If they're depression, they won't buy their drugs. A recession, they won't buy their drugs or their solar panels, which is the semiconductor industry. I said, it can be full blown out Armageddon and people are going to look for a chicken to eat. And it's a great chicken program.
That's the truth.
And so I say that is that I work in an industry that has a demand that will not go away. And it's been very refreshing. And as a safety director now, I started out there as a regional safety person, that I have never been a better safety professional than I have at this company, because it really matters what we do with so many people and so many good people that work hard every day, making sure that you guys get poultry in your restaurant, your stores, or however you get it. So wonderful, wonderful industry.
Well, I'll tell you this: as a formerly broke knife maker,
Yeah.
Chicken, we ate a lot of it because chicken's like other than pork. Pork is really good price per pound.
Right.
Chicken is great price per pound. Red meat, not great price per pound. But chicken, shoot, I know about 47 ways to eat chicken right about now. You do it for about 7 months.
Well,
you learn how to eat chicken all the
you
ways.
Guys,
like we actually did ground chicken in spaghetti. If you haven't tried,
it's not bad. I've had that
using ground chicken as opposed to beef. It is good.
Let me say this. You guys hear me talk about my faith, and people are entitled to their own walk in faith or beliefs. But for us to process an animal into a food product, you have to have a heart, you have to be humane, and you have to thank God for providing such a resource that feeds this planet. There's not I may be wrong, but I don't think there's a continent where poultry in some form, mostly chicken and turkey, feeds the billions of people on this planet. What are we, 4 billion, 5 billion people? And God produced such a wonderful creature to feed us all, and we couldn't be more fortunate to be able to enjoy it. And it tastes good. And interestingly enough, most good foods do taste like chicken. Frog legs taste like chicken. Chicken's just a good thing. It's a pleasing taste if that's that's all you got to eat. You know, was it Roosevelt said we're going to put a chicken in every pot? Right. He didn't say we're going to send he didn't say everybody's going to Ruth Chris on Friday. He said everybody's going to chicken in your pot.
And then wasn't it Bill Clinton that said he wanted a little bit of pot in every chicken?
Probably did.
I don't know if that was a thing, but I'm pretty sure it is now.
For sure. Right. Well, guys, with all that being said, Josh, you're going to be making blades all weekend. I'm making a sheath before I even make the knife because I have the pattern and everything. I know it will fit. So, I'm actually, I finished, doing the reposed Bigfoot. I think that's what you call it, repose, where you take, tin and you draw your image on it and you rub it out from the back side and the top side and go around and you make an image in that steel. So I made my Bigfoot, and that's going to go into my next sheath. That's my big thing.
It's going to be cool.
What can I do to top the snake? And not that I'm brilliant. I just got lucky. The snake is cool. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to go in and make another knife similar to, I want to make about a dozen of those before I do anything else. But I'm going to change the profile to more of a ABS style, pattern, which just kind of brings that heel down a little bit more rather than out and down like our good buddy Otis here says. Mark, you're going to be... He's thinking about it.
Well, so I have like one piece of the spine to sand out on my on that other Serbian cleaver I got in the shop. You know, I finished this one. And I have to post this one, and then I have another one that's just like it. That's going to be going to my mom, and then I need to sharpen them both. But I don't know what I'm going to do between this weekend and Thursday morning. When
looking forward to seeing. Looking forward to seeing one of your knives at the show. So please bring a knife or more, so that we can see what you've been doing up firsthand.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Eric, you are leaving on Tuesday or Wednesday, or?
I'm leaving Wednesday night,
gotcha.
And I'll get there Thursday morning or between morning and noon.
Gotcha.
I am bringing a few of the builds. I'm bringing I wasn't able to make a sheath for it, but I'm bringing the Darth Maul dagger, the double bladed one.
Yeah.
So y'all can
good.
hold that and swing that around and not stab yourselves. And then of course the Viking build and a few other things. I've got one knife that I'm working on right now that I need to get my whole goal for this particular show is to find the right piece of antler that's probably going to cost me $200 for this kukri that I'm making that has the dragon.
How big of a piece of antlers does it have to be? I've got some pretty large deer antlers. Are you going to need more of an elk type?
I've got a bunch of elk too.
I need one that So whenever you get the ones from the guys that have it there, they're the ones that they like recarved and re-dyed and did all the stuff.
Understood.
I need one that has the crown, that has a pretty good sized crown and a decent arch to it.
Gotcha.
Because it's going into an integral bolster kukri that's going to have like all the file work on the spine that has the dragon scales, like that one.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one to find.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm bringing that knife with me. I haven't even. I've got the profile forged and I've got the bolster all cleaned up with the tang and everything. So all I got to do is find the right piece of antler and go, okay, that's the one I'm buying. I don't care really what it costs. Because I mean, this is going to be like a $1,500 knife, and it is. I got to find the right.
Are you coming across Interstate 20, or are you coming 40 and down?
20.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 20 all the way across.
20. Yep. I was going to say I live 50 minutes north of 20, so it's out of your way to come up 50 minutes. But you're not going to get there till Thursday anyway. But I was going to say, if you come across 40, you can park at my house and I'll drive with you, or I'll drive you. Or, but again, if you came across 40, it'd be easy coming across 20, which is probably your faster route. So there you go. You're close to me house. And we know, Jason, you're going to be making knives this weekend too, trying to get
a little bit, few last projects.
All right. Well, guys, we will hope to see you listeners at Blade Show. This will be out on Monday. So if you see us walking around, please come up and say hello to us and let us know there's at least one listener out there. And we really enjoyed it. And we've got one buddy that he better show up with the blueberry jelly this year, because if he don't, I'm going to be pissed. Did you get who got blueberry jelly last year? Just me?
I don't think it was jelly.
Well, no. I had some of that too. But one of our listeners brought me a wonderful jar of blue. Oh, Kyle Daly got a jar of it as well. That's what I think. It's one of you guys. But yeah, we both got blueberry jelly. It was delicious. You guys be good. We'll see you on the next show. Bye.